Here's the first horse, Jellicoe. We're starting off in a walk, of course, although he wanted to start off in a trot, but it took a while to get him down to walking, but we finally did, and he was a nice, calm walk, which is something that we love to see. After a few laps, I go ahead and ask him to trot, and with that, I raise my left arm and apply pressure with the whip behind, and as you can see, he went straight into trot. So very obedient, and I am slightly holding the whip in front of his shoulder because he often wanted to speed up and go forward, and I do that just to kind of tell him, hey, no, and not apply any pressure behind, and just tell him to keep this speed. And I do the same thing with Kenner. I'm still standing at the shoulder, but applying pressure behind with that lunge whip, and he struck off really nicely. And I just kind of have to keep applying the pressure with the whip to tell him to keep going. And he definitely wanted to lay out a lot and kind of put pressure on the bit, so I kind of told him to come in. And then he kind of freaks out about who knows what. I don't think he's been lunged in a while. He still gets worked. But I go to step forward and he backs up, so I just tell myself, hey, no, just stand there and just try to keep encouraging him to move forward at his own pace. And then once he does, we just continue. And he goes off a little bit fast, but I do eventually just get him back to a calm walk. And here we are going the other direction. I finally got him into a nice calm walk. Again, he was quite chaotic. He wanted to trot a lot, and there are a lot of flies, so he's very distracted, which is understandable. Poor thing. But I finally got him in a nice walk, kind of having to apply the pressure with the whip a little bit, and I ask for a trot here, but again he strikes off in a canter, so quickly I just bring him back. Once I brought him back, I just kind of kept the trot going because that's of course what I asked for, and he had a lovely trot. He was very well behaved. I assume he got all of his wiggles out already, so. Here, when asking for the canter, I had to apply a lot of pressure and really up my energy so he knows I'm asking him to canter, and I point where I want him to go and leading him that way, and applied the pressure behind. And he had a lovely canter, no freak outs or anything, which is very nice. And he dropped down to trot, so I asked him again, but as you can see, he striked off on the wrong lead, so instantly I bring him back to a trot and then get him flexing towards me so I can then ask again. So you want to correct that right away so no horse learns bad habits. And after we were all done, I gave him a very nice hose, very well deserved. He was a very good boy. So just enjoy this nice time lapse. For our second horse, we have Harry here, and I'd just like to comment on a safety risk that's going on in this video. Behind me at the moment, this girl named Maddie, she is cleaning up some just leaves that were cut down from the hedge, so that could obviously spook the horse, but Harry seemed to be completely fine with it, and we had a nice relaxing walk. He was a bit like Jellicoe. He wanted to trot right away, but once we got him nice and calm and relaxed, he had a very nice walk, and his new owners were coming to pick him up today, so I was very grateful to be able to give him a nice exercise before he goes to his new home. He's very cute. When asking for the trot, I do the same thing. I kind of accidentally stepped behind him a little bit, but I just raised up my hand to tell him where I wanted to go. I didn't really have to apply much pressure with the whip. He knew what to do, and I just stand at his shoulders to keep a nice neutral position. And finally, when asking to canter, I do the same thing, and I had to apply a little bit of pressure with the whip very lightly, but he struck off really nicely, and as you can see, he dropped down to trot, so I just had to ask quickly right again. And it looked like he almost dropped down there again, so I had to apply pressure to make sure he wouldn't. It's kind of like you have to gauge ahead of time to catch it before they trot. And we switched directions, and we had a nice sort of calm walk. He obviously wanted to trot right away again. As you can see, I'm holding the whip kind of by his shoulder to kind of tell him to, hey, no trotting, almost block him with it so he doesn't run off as it's behind him. So there was a lot of bugs, so I did let him just kind of scratch them and try to get them away. It was quite irritating. And asking to trot, do the same thing. Tell him where I want him to go by raising that arm. And I didn't have to apply too much pressure with the whip, but I do keep it at his bum just so he knows this. I'm still applying some pressure so he knows not to drop down to walk, but I knew he wouldn't. He was too excited. And finally cantering. I had to apply some pressure with the whip because he was a bit hesitant, but I do the same thing pretty much, and I try to stand at his shoulder to apply a neutral position. But when I want him to go forward, you stand near his bum a little bit to apply that pressure and use the whip if needed. He's a very nice canter. And I asked him to whoa, and he did a very good job. And he's very well trained, so he just stands there. And when I walk up to the horse, I wind up the lead so it's not dragging on the ground. And then I come up and give him a nice good pat because he was a very good boy. And to finish him off, we did a nice hose, make him all shiny before his new owners come pick him up. So yeah, just enjoy. And for the last part of the day, we have Cappy, or Cappuccino, or whatever you want to call him. He's one of the school horses, so he was a bit lazy. And it was getting quite hot, so I didn't want to push him too much. But he had a very nice walk. He's very cute. Again, just standing at his shoulder, not applying much pressure behind, so he doesn't speed up until I ask him to. And here I am asked for a trot. He was a bit hesitant. I don't know the last time he was lunged, but he was very well behaved. He had a nice little trot around, and once again, just standing at a neutral position because I didn't want him to slow down or speed up, so standing right at his shoulder. And when asking to canter, he was very hesitant. He didn't really want to, so I had to keep encouraging him. I had to use a lot of the whip, and then, I lead with my hand to tell him I want to go, apply with the whip, and he would strike off, but then he dropped into trot, so I just have to keep telling him to, hey, keep it up. Every time I see him wanting to drop down, I have to quickly react and apply that pressure so he doesn't. And here we're going the other way, a nice, very calm walk once again. He's a very, very good boy. He's a very sweet man. And ask him to trot once more. I do the same thing. He was a bit more obedient this time, and he reacted a bit quicker. But he has a very, very cute trot, and you can see one of the horses, Bailey, in the background, spying on him. And lastly, cantering this direction, he struck off very nicely, and I tried to keep him more collected this time, because last time he was kind of running off a bit, and my instructor was giving me, little hints along the way to say little instructions to make him work better. And he was a lot better this way. He striked off on the wrong lead, so, brought him back to trot and tried once more. There he goes. And again, just have to kind of catch him before he drops down to trot. Dang, I missed it that time. But yeah. And the little man is all finished. So once again, just wrap up the lunge line when I walk up to him and give him a good pat, 'cause he's a good boy. And finally giving him a nice hose. Right. It was very toasty, so it was nice to have a nice cool off, so enjoy. Hey, it's Tenley here. So unfortunately, after all the lunging, my GoPro and my phone died, so I wasn't able to get any videos of me, cleaning and checking the tack, so I thought I'd just voice what I was doing. So I checked all the bridles and I cleaned the bits, so I just dunk them in a bucket of water and then get like a nice gritty sponge to like scrub off any nasty gunk that's on there. I checked over all the, what do you want to call them? Just straps to make sure nothing's frayed, because they are PVC. And everything looked good, all the buckles were intact, and once I was finished, I attached all their reins back on, so it was all ready for when they are ready to be ridden again.